Hi everyone. It is 11:34 a.m. on Thursday, October the 1st, when I'm recording this. And I'm going to post this to the week 7 tab, which is the week that we are completing today, basically. I've gotten a couple of emails from you across my 102 classes telling me that the deadline for SA2 is problematic for you. Some of you have emailed saying that while you don't have COVID, you do have family members who have it, and so you're negotiating that. And some of you have told me that your Wi Fi was out yesterday, which is believable because I had difficulty with my Wi Fi yesterday. So typically I wouldn't believe that, except for the fact that I also had issues with Wi Fi. So, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and believe that. And then there was another email that I just got within the last 10 minutes from a student who said that they just were not going to be able to do SA2 in addition to the midterm that we have scheduled for Monday and Tuesday for the 102 classes because they have assignments in other classes and it's just kind of stacking up and things are just crazy. And so, what I think, sitting here now at 11:35, is that we need to kind of take the pressure off of you. I have not given a due date for SA2 because I wanted us to get to the midterm for us to make progress on SA2 and then kind of put a pause on that before you turned it in and then do the midterm exam on Monday. And we don't have a due date on SA2. So what I'm thinking is, why don't we just go ahead and plan for Sunday, October 11th, across all of the 102 classes, so that way we can start that next week, which would be week 9, I believe. Having completed SA2, having already done our midterm in the first half of week 8, and we can just kind of take a deep breath and we can come at this with fresh eyes and fresh minds after midterm and after the midterms that I'm assuming that you will have next week during midterm week. You have SA1 and you've done the revisions on SA1. So we have at least one major grade in the books for midterm, which I need on my side for the administration. You've also been working on SA2. You have a draft. You've been doing class assignments in that regard. So what you're going to see me do is you're going to see me posting a participation grade. And the participation is basically attendance and is also, participating in the forums and in peer review and things like that, which is going to count as a second grade for the administration. So you're going to see me putting that on Moodle in the next couple of days. And, my participation grade is a sliding scale. It's not locked until the very last day of class. So if you see the participation grade and it's not a grade that you like, it can be changed by the end of the semester based on attendance, based on participation in the forums, things like that. A couple of you have emailed asking about the annotated bibliography for SA2, which I believe that I talked about in a previous video, and I would have talked about that in class, and I said, something, if I remember correctly, I said something to the effect that we're going to be doing an annotated bibliography for SA2, that we're going through the articles that I've assigned you, so we're all going to be on the same page with the annotated bibliography. And then I stopped talking about it. And the reason why was because when we came into class about a week and a half ago, and I said, I feel like we're going into a problem here where you're turning in the revision for SA1, you're turning in SA2 for a rough draft, you're turning in SA2 again to me for grading, and then you're going to have a midterm. I think that we need to lower the pressure on that. I didn't want to add the annotated bibliography on top of that. It's like a whole other thing. And so my intention was that we were going to come back to it in week 9. So if you are talking about that in your group chats, which some of you have said that you are. I haven't been talking about that. We will be doing an annotated bibliography, but it's not due right now. It won't be due until after SA2, or after you've turned in SA2 to me. So, here are the highlights. 1, we have major grades in the book for you. I'm still going through SA1 revisions. I'm still grading those. So if you don't see a grade for SA1 revision, that's totally normal because I'm still working through them and still grading them. I have several 102 classes, and then I have my other classes that I teach, which I'm looking at their assignments as well. So be patient with me. I am looking at SA1 again. I'm looking at your revisions, and I can tell you the majority of you that I've looked at so far have been doing really well. So it's erasing your zeros, it's erasing your lower grades that you would have made on the first draft of SA1. Second highlight, in relationship to SA2, don't worry about the annotated bibliography because I'm not. I stopped talking about it in class. I did not want to give you another big assignment and have to work through that as we're working through SA2. So right now what you need to do today is you need to be turning in the peer review or the rough draft, which I'm calling those basically the same thing. You are doing a rough draft and then you're going to peer review it with one another. That's due today. For the online class, it's due by 10 p.m. For the on-campus classes, it's due during the window of your normal class. So my 11 a.m., it would be due in the next half hour. I'm looking at the clock again. It'll be due by 12:15. For my 2 o'clock class, it'll be due by 3:15. So we're just keeping with our normal schedule on Thursday. For the online class, it's due by 10 p.m. tonight. And then that's it. We, again, don't really have a deadline for SA2 because I want you to get through the midterm. And so the midterm is going to take place, depending on your class, it's going to take place on Monday or Tuesday of this coming week, which would be week 8. And if we can get through the midterm, then we can work on SA2 and continue to polish it. But I would really, just as a human being, I want you to kind of take the notes from SA2 today and then sit on them until after the midterm. I would really prefer, as a human being and as your friend, that you have time to work on those assignments where you're not feeling stressed, pressured, not getting enough sleep, in addition to having to deal with everything else. So to me, it makes a lot more sense for us to just kind of put the pause button on SA2 and let's revisit that after the midterm. Highlight 3. Your midterm is going to be due on Monday or Tuesday, depending on which class you're in. The midterm, for those of you who have not had a chance to talk to me about it yet, or are seeing things appearing in Moodle and you're not really sure what that is, just as a refresher, what's going to happen with the midterm is that you have already been assigned some readings that you're going to be looking at this weekend. You're going to read over the chapter that I've posted, and then on Monday and Tuesday, depending on, again, on which class you're in, the exam is going to go live, meaning that you will have to do it during your regular class session, or if you're in the online class, you're going to have the majority of the day to take care of it. Now, I'm going to open those up an hour before they are due. I'm going to open those an hour before your class is scheduled to start. For those of you that need accommodations or that for whatever reason you just want to peek at it, there's no penalty for peeking at the midterm once it goes active. But what I really want you to do is I really want you to just spend an hour and 15 minutes, and I want you to see how far you get. And you will be locked out at the end of your regular class session. For the online class, you'll be locked out at 10 p.m. On Tuesday, I believe. And so when you open up that file, what you're going to see on the day of the midterm, when you open up that file, what you're going to see is you're going to see that there are two questions. There's going to be an open-ended question, and there's going to be a closed-ended question. And the examples that I would kind of point you to is I can ask the same question just in different ways. I can ask you, hey, you want to go get something to eat? And that's an open-ended question because we've not set any dates or times or places or the kind of food. So you could really answer it any way that you want because it's open-ended. You could say yes under these conditions, no under these conditions. So for example, with me, I'd say, yeah, like I'm really hungry right now. Let's go get something right now. You could also say, hey, let's go get some seafood. And I would say, no, I can't go with you to go eat seafood because if I eat seafood, it's going to kill me. I'm allergic to it. You can answer it in a lot of different ways. The more closed-ended question is going to be, hey, you want to go get some fajitas, let's say at 2 p.m. at La Carreta. That's very specific. We're looking at 2 p.m., we're looking at La Carreta, and we've really set some of the parameters down of what the question is going to be. For those of you who are saying or emailing me asking me, oh, did I miss something? Where are the questions? The questions won't appear until the day of the exam, and they will appear an hour before your class is scheduled to start. For the online class, it'll be available the entire day. Now, again, there's no penalty for looking at the midterm exam. When it goes active, you can look at it. You can spend as much time as you want. What I ask you to do is I ask you to spend about an hour and 15 minutes with it, and that you set some alarms for yourself, maybe on your cell phone, where you're just setting the alarm so that you can feel the time constraints and you can feel the pressure of having to sit there for an hour and 15 minutes. For the online class, I think this may be the first time that you've heard this particular information. The midterm and the final they're going to look remarkably similar because our midterms are finals from previous semesters. So at the end of this semester, when you take your final, it's going to look a lot like your midterm. And that's why, if you've noticed on the syllabus, the midterm is not worth a whole lot. Because to me, what's important is that you are able to sit and you're able to take the exam in a time setting and you're able to work through whichever question you're going to be answering. And that's it. It's practice. It's practice for the final. You will know after you've taken the midterm what the final exam is going to look like because it will look exactly the same. The only difference is the questions. The format will be the same. The layout of the page will be the same. The kinds of question will be the same. The only difference is going to be what you have to read ahead of time and the questions themselves. That's it. So the midterm is kind of like a practice effort at the final. And my students tend to do well on both the final and the midterm because the majority of your work is going to be revolved around the essays in my classes, in my 102 classes. So you've been hard hit by me. You know what I'm looking for. You know how to write for both the midterm and the final. So there's really not a whole lot to be anxious or to be stressed about because from day one, you have been preparing for the midterm, and for the back half of the semester, by that point, you will have taken a sample, final, in the midterm, and you also are going to continue to write for me. So again, my students tend to do well in the final because they have the practice of the midterm, which is a previous final. They have gone through the ringer with me by that point for 3 essays and revising at least one of them. So you're probably going to be in good standing for the final. And I say this seriously, and I really do mean this. I don't mean this to try and help you or to get you into a better place emotionally and mentally, but I say this for real. Like, the final is not your hardest project at all. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, the final is going to be so hard, I am really confident in saying that the final is going to be your easiest exam this semester. I'm pretty confident of that because you would have had so much practice at it. By the time that you take it, okay? So, Essay 2, do the drafts today, do the peer reviews today, and then let's put a pause on it, and let's revisit the due dates on that. My thinking is that we're going to be turning it in on Sunday, October the 11th, but let's get to the midterm first, and then we will revisit that, okay? You have a midterm coming up on Monday or Tuesday, depending on which class you're in. And you will have an annotated bibliography, but we will revisit that after the midterm and probably after Essay 2. Okay, so don't worry about that right now. If you have other questions, please put them in the weekly forum, because I've had to answer pretty similar questions through email, and I can tell that y'all are getting into these group texts and one person is saying one thing and then another person is kind of changing the nature of the question, and it just gets really confusing. And so by the time that you send that email to try and get clarity, I'm reading the email and I'm like, what are they talking about? Like, that's not what I said at all. So again, hearing it from the horse's mouth. You've done Essay 1. I'm working through Essay 1, and most of you are doing a really great job. I'm really proud of you for that. You will have a midterm coming up this coming week. And if you have any anxiety, direct your attention to that. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be that hard of an exam. Essay 2, we can revisit that next week. By that point, you will have done peer review. You will have gone through your rough draft. So you're going to have a copy ready and something to work with by that point. You're going to have some notes by that point, and you're going to be in pretty good standing when we pick Essay 2 back up after the midterm, okay? I'm wishing all of you good luck on all of your midterms, not just in my class, but in all of them. If you are feeling stressed out, if your Wi-Fi goes down, if your dog chewed through a cord, I still care about that. I want to know about it. I want to know about what's going on in your personal life. And as some of you are already finding out, when you're video conferencing with me, or coming to my office and meeting with me, or we're having conferences on my phone, I really genuinely care about how you're doing. I care about your mental and emotional health, especially in a crazy semester like this. We're going to get through it. I'm really proud of how far you have come in such a short time. I mean that genuinely. And I think that you're going to continue doing well in this class. So let's stay optimistic. Let's not have reason for anxiety or stress. If there is difficulty, I'm probably going through it myself, just like the internet issue. Like, if you're having internet outages, I might be having that same issue. So let's just check in and let's stay on the same page together. I don't want you to be stressed out for this class, because you're not going to do good work if you're stressed out. So let's just be as calm and as patient, as slow going as we possibly can, because it's an exceptional semester. It is. So that's where we're at. You have a midterm coming up. Today you will complete your peer reviews. You have a midterm coming up at the first half of next week. Essay 2 is going to be due more or less at the end of next week, going into week 9, and we will revisit the annotated bibliography probably after that. Probably Essay 2 has already been turned in by that point, and then we'll come back and we'll revisit Essay 2 with our annotated bibliography. Hopefully that answers the questions. If you have more, again, please put them in the forum so that we can talk about them publicly and openly, and so I'm not having to answer the same questions multiple times through email. I can just post it to the forum. I can answer those questions in the forum, and then all of you can see the same answer at the same time. Okay? Do well on your midterms next week. I wish you luck. I wish you blessings. Let's stay calm, and we will get through this. Okay? Good afternoon.